The world is here. The world is here.
Hello, my name is Elvis Sequeira.
मैं हूं मलकीत सिंह।
Hi, my name is Sathak.
आप सुन रहे हैं ग्रेटर नोएडा का अपना सामुदायिक रेडियो स्टेशन सुनो शारदा 90.8 FM।
The world is here. The world is here. The world is here. The world is here at Sharda University. Where are you?
I'm very, very proud and glad that the second speaker for the day is Muzaffar Ali, a Padma Shri awardee. And before I request Professor Sanjeev Sood, who will be the moderator of this session, to take over, I would request Sonali to kindly play a small introductory AV that the students have made to introduce our second speaker of the day, Mr. Muzaffar Ali.
His life's work is resplendent with the practice and the patronage of the arts. The times of royal jurisdiction have passed, but the royal duty of the conservation of cultural heritage lives on in the passions and efforts of individuals like Muzaffar Ali. Born October 21st, 1946 in Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, India, he is the current Raja of Kotwara, a princely province of Awadh. He is recognized not by the illustrious title he inherited, but the merits he accrued as a filmmaker, fashion designer, poet, artist, geologist, and social worker. Muzaffar Ali attended the La Martiniere College in Lucknow. His traditional roots and innovative outlook are weaved into House of Kotwara, the fashion line he co-owns with his wife, Meera Ali. His directorial filmography includes noteworthy movies such as Gaman, Umrao Jan, Agman, Anjuman, and Janisar. Umrao Jan received the Filmfare Award for Best Director. His feature film Gaman was awarded with the National Film Award in 1978. In 2005, he was awarded the Padma Shri for his contributions in the field of arts.
Well, I think it is a wonderful, wonderful AV made by the students on our next speaker, Shri Muzaffar Ali. He is there with us already. And before I request Sanjeev Sood sir to take the dais and introduce him, I have these questions about the feedback links. Guys, attendees, please note that the feedback link shall be shared with you guys approximately at 1 p.m. That is after the 6 speakers lined up for the day have done. All right. So I request Sanjeev Sood sir now to take over and continue with the second session, technical session of the day. Spotlight on you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Amit. And welcome, Muzaffar Ali Saab. And I think the students have prepared a brilliant introduction for Muzaffar Ali ji. So I don't have to introduce him any further. I think I'll straight away come to the subject. Sir, your cinematic journey spans over 50 years and you've seen everything from close quarters. Right from your first film, got your national award, and you enthralled the audience with Umrao Jan, which is a legend in the history of cinema. I want to ask you that what kind of paradigm shift you see in mediascape, the way content is being produced and the way content is being consumed. Over to you, Muzaffar Saab.
Spotlight on you, sir, now. So you are muted. I think you'll have to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Well, all art is a reflection of time. It's a reflection of what we are going through. And in each era, in each time span, we learn new ways to express ourselves. That's been happening. I mean, there was a time when there was no film, and then film came and the sound came, and so there's been a kind of a slow evolution in cinema. And in the recent years, there's been a rapid change in the technology, and somehow we have the fire within us, the need to connect with people within us, has driven us to find ways of connecting. So this main thing today is the fire within us to connect, and then you find ways to connect. And I think today there's a kind of a convergence of all art forms. Somehow every art form has some connection with the other art. Like if you don't understand sound and the beauty of sound, the nuances of sound, you won't be able to understand the dimension is adding the moving image. So simply, if you don't understand color and the way the light falls on the subject, you won't be able to take the visual dimension to the next level. And if you don't understand, let's say, a time period, a kind of a way of life, then you will not be able to add that kind of reality, a kind of a realism, a kind of authenticity to what is going within the frame. So I think all these things are somehow connected, integrated, and they're used to connect with the people. I mean, here another element, another dimension of art I didn't mention was poetry. Poetry is a very important aspect of art, because it takes you into imagination, it takes you into dreaming, it takes you into touching people. It also gives you a kind of a format for the content, you say poetic film. So what does it mean? It means that there's a kind of a rhythm, flow, feeling to it, and inspiration. So inspiration also becomes a very important part of this whole ethos of art that we are talking about. So in today's time, I think we have a challenge, and it's a serious challenge. It's a kind of a do or die challenge. So in this kind of a do or die situation, we have to find a new way of going into ourselves, of connecting with people. And I think people are doing that. Except I think the areas which are going to face the challenge are areas of production design. Production design would be a very serious challenge, but maybe we'll be able to compensate through CT and other ways, But I think there'll be a lot of interesting amalgamation of thoughts, inward journeys, outward expressions. And I think today there are 2-3 dimensions which are very important. One is the evolution of talent, the finding of talent, the training of talent, and then taking it to the fruition level of creating the artistic audiovisual experience. So these are the big challenges that we're going to face. And for people like us, we have an opportunity to introspect a lot of things we've been pushing aside in terms of scripts. A lot of scripts. Everybody lives with many scripts. So we have a chance of perfecting those scripts, taking them to the next level, checking them out. Also, I think putting your archives in order, putting your thoughts in order. So all these things are, but at the same time, what is very important is how do you develop talent? How do you find talent? How do you shape talent? And how that talent sees a future in the current scenario. And I think today what is happening is that there's a lot of young mindset which is going to help you. What you can't do, what you can't see, there are other people who can see. So today there'll be a lot of interesting convergence of ideas, convergence of, let's say, 1 and 1 will become 11. So we will be facing these kind of mini miracles in this journey of cinema and in this journey of creativity. And I think this is the challenge of today. And this is a challenge we have to face with optimism. I mean, obviously, there are huge number of practical problems facing us. And I think some of those problems have been discussed. And some of them we have not discussed, and some of them we can't even imagine what they are. So I think today we need to be very open to the idea of a newness emerging in this medium. People have to survive. It's like a survival of the fittest. And for that, I think it's also very, very important to be deeply human. I think your inspiration has to come from the human situation. Now, the human predicament is, for me, the most important driving force in my work. Like, for instance, Gaman. Somehow, this particular human situation today has found traction in Gaman. A lot of people have been watching Gaman and feeling the current predicament through what was felt in Gaman. So same thing is happening here. So I think the truth of art never dies, and the art is always more than true. It's prophetic. It's got if you don't have any compromises, if you don't have any narrow agenda, I think this issue of agenda is also very important. Agenda in art has to be purely human. If you have an agenda of somebody in power of strength or with money to drive your, I mean, I'm going into a little bit of idealism, but it's going to be a big challenge. So today we need to be very pure about the agenda, very inspired by the agenda. And the agenda has to be deeply aesthetic, it has to be deeply human. And we in India, I think we need to groom our talent to become a global level. I think what is happening is that somehow certain areas of the technology has evolved and certain areas of technology has not evolved. So we don't find a holistic kind of leveling in this art form, in the art form of audiovisual communication or in the art form of moving images. So today we need to develop our talent, we need to develop our youth to be able to think and find their particular strength in this spectrum of cinematic expression. So we need to, like simple things like concepts. How do you arrive at concepts? How you take them to the level of somebody feeling strong enough to green light it. Then you come to the idea of giving body and flesh to the concept. And that is again a very big challenge. Somehow I've noticed that we are not fully prepared with our kind of archival thought process. We don't know. Uh, we don't study art. We don't study painting. We don't study photography. There are no places where you can go and see things. There are no music where you can be kind of. I mean, I'm talking about in real life in India. Today on the net you can. I mean, on the mobile you can probably get everything, all the information. But that information is not tactile enough to inspire. So this tactile inspiration is going to be the challenge of the future to shape minds. Today on Netflix, people who got sensibility and taste and all that, they skip over a lot of Hindi films and they go into films where there's a lot of feeling, a lot of intensity, a lot of good plotting, how plot pans out, how characters are developed. So all these things are looking at us. These are all challenges. We're getting challenges from a global arena. Although our Indian market is very big. I mean, how do you get to the Indian market is a different story, but nevertheless, today the market is there. As long as the phone is there, the mobile is there, the market is there. And the market, in any case, before COVID, it had shrunk into the phone. So that market is going to grow. That market is going to remain. The market today, the issue today is really creativity and how to make creativity happen and how to make it relevant, how to make it powerful, how to make it motivating. So I think we need to look into all these things in a very serious way. Like for instance, like even performances. I've noticed that we need to look at actors in a very different kind of light. We need to look at actors in the light of the story they tell. So I think a lot of people in India, we're not being able to tell deep stories with nuances. We go into over-the-top expressions in storytelling. I think these are very big challenges that we have to face. Maybe today we're sitting on a gold mine. We are sitting on a global market. Indian. I mean, today a lot of Spanish serials are being watched in translation, in dubbing. So I mean, I'm not saying that we should dub our serials or our films into different languages. But it can be done, but we can also look at bilingual epics. Like I was making this film in Kashmir on Zuni. It was a bilingual film. It had a Hindi negative, it had an English negative, and I got a New York-based writer to come and sit and write the film. So I found it very easy for him to stay there and understand the ethos of Kashmir. And at the same time, I got a very fine Hindi writer to follow what was being said into simple Hindi dialogues. So I think today these kind of experiments are also possible. The bilingual experiments are also possible. Bilingual is going to be a big thing. If you come to think of it, English, you take it like it or not. It is almost like I would say, stepmother language, whatever. So it's there, and we think and feel in English. So this is something that we are going to live with. You take it or leave it. Same thing with Urdu also. Urdu is a language which offers a lot of very, very fine nuances of sensitivity and romance. So all the actors today will need to understand the beauty of the language. And that beauty of the language will take them to another level. the nuances of the language, the diction of the language. So I think these are the challenges that today communication arts, the media and entertainment industry is going to face, and we have to hone in on these skills. So we need to understand the larger picture. This is the time to understand the larger picture, the largest picture possible, and the most futuristic scenario that cinema is going to face. So we need to put our minds together, put our thinking caps, come together, join together, and arrive at. See, we should not get too bogged down by by the logistics. The logistics will find their way out. The people sitting, the whole industry sitting on how to monetize ideas. So we are in the idea world. So we need to look at only what should be done, how and where is a different story altogether. So we need to go into that. It's the time to put our thoughts together, to bring our minds together, and particularly the young mind, which is very kind of energetic, athletic, and shall I say, flexible. I mean, the whole world is developing to suit the speed of the young mind. You know how the young mind maybe, and that's how things are getting obsolete. So far, the young minds are also getting lazy. Once they get into too much pleasure and leisure and all that kind of stuff, their quest goes in. So then the young mind becomes lazy. So the point is that people like us have to be young forever. We have to think forever, and we have to think of what young minds would need in time to come. Not just technology, but I think there's somewhere the human aspect, aesthetic aspect, the artistic aspect. These are the things that I think should concern us, and they should be part of our, should I say, strategy. Should be part of our
Okay.
process.
Here now there are
Should give it a break.
there are so many questions. In fact, I cannot take all, but there's one very interesting question. It's a very long written text, so I've summarized it. Bhavya Mishra is asking that in good old days, cinema was meant for theaters, and director's job was very easy, because what director used to do, make a film, release it in theater, theater is dark, there's only one bright spot where everyone is concentrating, right? So message goes through. But today, media is being consumed on the trot, on mobile phone, wherever you are. In fact, she's asking, can you imagine someone consuming Umrao Jan in the metro on mobile phone? What's your take
Yeah.
on that?
See, the thing is that the medium has become very, very, very user friendly. See, I'm a marketing person, I work in India, so that one seat was very important that goes empty in a plane. So I think here today we are in a world when everything has become easy for the audience. So nobody can find out whether the film is a hit or a flop, because there's no way of measuring what you've done and how it's being seen. And there are films which go into a zone which are timeless zones. Those timeless zone films, also there's no measurement for hit or flop there. Because they get into your psyche, they get into your bloodstream, and they haunt you because of its sheer truthful reality, I mean, and its artistic beauty. There are many, many films like that, in which keep coming back to your mind. I think today the whole medium has become very, very user friendly, and I think it's going to get more user friendly in time. So, and the equipment that we're going to watch it on is going to become more also user friendly, more sophisticated, more kind of convenient to carry with you And you can have very sophisticated headphones. Nobody knows what the hell is happening, and you're in another world altogether. तो ये रुझान तो हर दौर में ये जिंदा रही है एक नए मीडियम के इजाद से. अब ये जो मीडियम आया है, इस पे हम लोग ये बात कर रहे हैं, देख रहे हैं, ये तो इसको इस तरह की चीजों को अमर कर देगा. तो आई थिंक ये what saying is perfectly correct, because today that is our saving grace, and that is where the future lies.
I think Niharika Beliwal will be very happy because she had been cribbing that conferences in English, and she cannot understand English. She was expecting speakers to speak in Hindi, and we are reminding her. नहीं आप हिंदी में बोलते हैं, but this is an international conference. We've got participants from all over the world.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Anyway, no, she must be very happy she heard you speaking Urdu. Okay, so now I've got some interesting questions about OTT platform. In fact, there are too many, but I'll just skip that for the time being. And there's a really interesting question from Mr. Sudhir Tandon. Now, he says, what are the challenges of treatment of classical romance and love stories to reflect the ethos in digital medium? If you want, I can repeat the question. What are the challenges? Yeah, what are the challenges of treatment of classical romance and love stories to reflect the ethos in digital age?
I think the challenges are the same as for any other genre of film. Only thing that for this kind of stuff, you need to create poetry, you need to create magic, you need to create magic in words and images, music, in everything. So that is very important. The classical romance is not so easy. It's done with जब तक आप उसमें डूबे नहीं, till you don't dive into it, you won't come out of it. I mean, just taking big names and big stars and things that sell is not enough, because the heart is a pure space, and the heart will allow you first time to enter with a big name, but then don't keep it there, because there are a lot of the same name has got a lot of other products attached. So you need to have kind of, I would say, a cast which has got into the soul of the character. And to get into the soul of the character needs time. It's not easy to get into the soul of the character. And so today, all these series are working because the artists have got into the soul of the character, and they've got you spellbound. Every little smile has been noticed, every little twitch has been registered, and people are just hooked on to those characters like glue. So it's very today. That is the advantage of series, because particularly a lot of feminine subjects have found good space, because I think the story of the face of a woman is very strong. It's stronger than a man's face, because a man is always associated with aggression, violence, a different kind of energy. The woman is very receptive, and she takes in feelings. So that's why we find. I mean, when my wife and I go through the list of what is to see, I mean, you get arrested by a face, and you realize that the unfolding on this face is going to be interesting. So you may know the face, you may not know the face, but it's sometimes better if you don't know the face. And because what is happening in India, that our faces are overselling themselves. So there's no story left of their face. They are just here, there, everywhere. So what the hell you want to, they've lost their magic. So today, if I'm a face, I must contain my magic. if I don't contain my magic, if I overexpose myself, today people think that overexposing is very important. It's the hits, it's the likes, yeah. No, it's not that. It's, I think the magic of the face, सर पे चढ़ के बोलता है. तो ये this has to be, I think, understood if you're making a classic romance, that those characters have to really breathe and exude a kind of a romantic ethos that's never been seen before. And it's not easy to do that. You have to really ground yourself. You can't multitask on that. You can't do 10 films or 5 films. That's a film you do over 2-3 years. That's your, only then you get into people's bloodstream. Through your passion, you enter into the artist's bloodstream. And through the artist's passion, you enter into the audience's bloodstream. So I think it's a question of getting into, it's more chemistry than anything else.
I think there's a very straight question coming in. I mean, there are a lot of questions about OTT platforms. So I think I have to concise them. But before I take that,
see, OTT platform, I'm just a user, you know. I mean, I think now today, maybe I've run out of, they've also run out of a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, okay. See, now there's a one very contemporary question which is bothering everyone. And there's this lady who's identifying herself by the name Del. She's asking what will be the future of Indian Bollywood in the post-COVID world. In fact, this question is global. What is going to happen to motion picture industry post-COVID?
I think it's a very big challenge for Bombay, because Bollywood is very rigid. Bombay is and there are a lot of very, very helpless people on the fringes of Bollywood. You know? So it's going to be a very painful thing for people to change according to the new challenge, you know, their way of life, where they live, where they come from, all this kind of stuff is going to be heartbreaking, heart-wrenching. So Bollywood is going to, at a certain lower and even middle level, is going to go through a lot of pain. Upper level, so they'll devise ways of taking things forward, but then they will not have the same kind of a unit, the sanitization of the unit, living conditions of the unit, where they're coming from, where they're going to go, who they're going to meet. It's going to be a severe problem. You know? So I think that's somebody who knows more about this answer this question. But I can tell you one thing: Bollywood is rigid and is going to definitely. I mean, I don't want to be pessimistic about it.
Okay, there are many questions, and I'm sorry I cannot take all because we have already overshot the time. Your talk was so engrossing, we didn't even realize that.
You better ask me what I can answer, not because I can't answer.
Okay, Professor.
Okay, wait. Now, before
I
we
would
close this. And she's heading. Can you hear me? Please.
I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So one of your former students who's with us here right now, and she's heading the School of Media, Media, Films and Entertainment in Sharda University. And in fact, she is going to moderate the next speaker. So I'll call upon Dr. Sood, Dr. Ritu Sood. Maybe you'll recognize her.
Sir, year was 1988. I had joined Mass Communication Research Center, Jamia Millia Islamia. And you used to come, I'm fine, sir. I know you'll not recognize me now. And you used to, I learned my film appreciation from you, sir. And today I'm so glad that my students are here and they are learning it from you. It's a very proud moment for me, sir.
You're doing a very noble job. It's a path-breaking job. I mean, हम लोग सोचते ही रहते हैं आपने करके दिखा दिया.
Sir, you are being very, very modest. In fact, all your films have been path-breaking.
Yes.
I still remember.
My films have been modest also. They've been humble and बात तो मतलब अल्लाह रास्ते तो निकालते ही रहता है.
Okay.
No, sir. Umrao Jan is as young as it was in 1981. It's a film which has frozen in time. It's an amazing film. Even the kids today, even our generation, even the elder generation, it's a masterpiece. Your gaman, your each film is like an artist. You know, it is the artist in you. Your each frame, everything, is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Sir, thank you very much for joining us, and we hope we are going to bother you and trouble you, seek your guidance to these kind of webinars in future also, because your thoughts must pass on to the younger generation. So now, on behalf of Sharda University, I thank you very much for spending your time and giving us pearls of wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
The world is here. The world is here.
Hello, my name is Elvis Sequeira.
मैं हूं मलकीत सिंह.
Hi, my name is Sarthak.
आप सुन रहे हैं ग्रेटर नोएडा का अपना सामुदायिक रेडियो स्टेशन सुनो शारदा 90.8 FM.
The world is here.
The world is here. The world is here. The world is here at Sharda University. Where are you?